Hey there, it's me, Kathy. I had bought some corn a while back and I have to use it, and spinach too. So I remembered that I had some shrimp that I bought from Misfits Market in the freezer, and I have the corn and the spinach and a little bit of bacon fat and some stone ground grits. So we're gonna make shrimp and corn and spinach grits. And grits. You know, they say shrimp and grits. So it's like shrimp and grits, but I'm throwing in some corn and spinach too. And a little cheese and a little bacon and a little Cajun seasoning that I made. And I'll put the recipe for that on the website. And we're gonna throw that together, and it's gonna be fun and it's gonna be delicious, and let's do it. We're gonna start our shrimp and grits by cooking our grits first, because that's gonna take about 20 or 30 minutes. So the first thing we do is we're going to add 4 cups of water or milk. In this case, I used half water and half milk, so 2 cups of milk, 2 cups of water. And we're gonna put that in a pan over medium-high heat. We're going to season our water and milk with some salt and pepper. And when that comes to a boil, we are going to whisk in our grits. We have now reached our boil, and it's time to stream in our grits. With a nice steady stream, and whisk them while you go, incorporating them well. Now we're going to cook these. We're going to lower the heat to medium and cook these, stirring very frequently for 20 to 30 minutes until they are done. Our grits are done, creamy, softened. Now what we're going to do is pop in some butter, and some cheddar cheese. Nice handful of that to tang those up. And stir that in until it's all melted and delicious. Our grits are now buttered up, cheesed up, creamy. I could just live on grits. And there they are. We're going to set them aside, and we are going to prepare. Here's our Gulf shrimp from Misfits Markets. The only ones I can get from there are small, but they're cheap and they come to my door and I'll use them. And these are 4150s. You can use any size shrimp that you want. And we are going to season them with, I made my own Cajun spice blend. It is salt and pepper and oregano and cayenne pepper and paprika and some garlic powder, and it's going to be really good on these shrimp, and it's going to add a lot of flavor to our dish. All right, I've sprinkled it on, and now we're going to evenly distribute amongst all of these shrimp, and then we're going to let them sit at room temperature for a little bit, and then we're going to cook them up. As you may or may not know, I always have a store of bacon fat in my refrigerator. And this bacon fat is going to add some nice baconiness to our shrimp and grits. And we're going to melt that into our skillet over medium-high heat. Okay, our fat is ready, and here come our shrimp. Place them in here. I'm only going to cook them on like a minute aside. And I get all that flavor in there, and that's why I'm not individually, but now that they're in there, I'm going to spread them out so they're in a single layer. And because these are small, like I said, I'm only doing them for like a minute aside, because we're going to finish cooking these once we've created our sauce. So we'll be flipping these over in just about, okay, time to turn them over. And we're going to take them off, put them on a plate, set them aside, and build our sauce. We have removed our partially cooked shrimp to a plate. We're going to save it, and we're going to add it back in when we're done with our sauce and our vegetables. And so here we go. Here's our fat in the pan. We're going to scrape the bottom up with some of these brown bits and incorporate that shrimpiness into the oil. And then we're going to make the rest of our sauce. First thing that's going in is 2 ears of corn cut from their cobs, and boom. Probably know, because I use a lot of corn in my videos, that I'm a big fan. I like the sweetness. I don't believe we have to add any extra seasonings to this corn at this time because we have our Cajun spices from the shrimp, and the Cajun spices are going to go back in. So we're going to saute this just for a couple of minutes until the corn is slightly soft. Now is the time to sprinkle on some flour to thicken our sauce. That should do it. We will incorporate this into our corn and into our fat. Okay, now we're ready for some half and half. This is where our creamy sauce comes from. And let's let that thicken up a little bit. I do think at this time I want to add just a tiny dollop of chicken base, just for a little additional flavor. And I would mix that with, make chicken broth out of it, but I don't have to because I have the liquid from the cream, so we'll make sure that that gets very well incorporated. And we're going to let that thicken up a bit. Okay, we're getting nice and creamy, and now it's time for our shrimp to go back in and any liquid that has accumulated on the plate. And we're going to let those cook for about 2 minutes because they don't need a whole lot more cooking. And we are also at this time going to throw in a couple of handfuls of baby spinach. And the spinach, this sauce is very thick, but the spinach may exude some liquid, so I'm going to play it by ear and see what happens. And we may need to add some more half and half. Get this in, get it wilted down. Stay in, you. We are going to need a little more half and half just to thin this out a little bit. And then we're going to stir it up and we're going to serve it, and it tastes amazing. Okay, I've decided that since this is kind of fancy, I want to serve this in a fancy way. I'm sorry about my arm, but here's our grits. And we're going to scoop those into the middle of this shallow bowl. And here are our shrimp, corn, and spinach grits, creamy, Cajun-y. It's actually quite end kick to this thing. And you can see how creamy those are. And now we're going to take our little mound of grits and we're going to distribute our stuff around that. Our shrimp and corn and spinach and creaminess. And this is how we're going to serve our Cajun creamy spinach, shrimp, and corn grits. And I got one last thing for you. We're going to garnish this with a little bit of chopped bacon. Right in the middle. Over the grits. Over the shrimp. And there you have it. Creamy shrimp, corn, and spinach grits. And I can't wait to eat this for dinner. It's going to be yummy. I want to thank you for joining me for our creamy shrimp, corn, and spinach grits. And you know I hate to take bites on camera, but I'll take a little one. And let's see if I can stab a shrimp. Yeah. Okay, so here's a bite. Creamy and delicious, and it's going in.